Well, where are you from?
It's my fucking business.
Why is it not my business?
I'm from Dublin.
You're from Dublin?
Yeah. All right. Is that good for you?
Sure.
Shit, fuck up, yeah?
Ezra Levant here for Rebel News. I've touched down in Dublin, Ireland for a whistle-stop trip to see what's going on with their migrant crisis. We've been told that later today the largest anti-immigration march in Ireland's history will be happening. We want to see what all the fuss is about. We want to see if indeed it is as large as its proponents say it will be. And if so, who's there? What are they saying? And how are they responded to by the pro-immigration factions, globalists, left-wingers, and the immigration industry, which is doing very well these days? I have in my hand a copy of the Irish Independent. Look at the above the fold story, demand for answers as new immigrant tent city grows. I'm standing in front of one of those tent cities. Dublin's a beautiful city. They call Ireland the Emerald Isle, and you can see why. Lush green lily pads, refurbished old schools, now 4-star hotels. There's modern things too, like over there, the electric company office. But there's squalor because in the last couple of years, Ireland has become the drop zone for a massive wave of migration. I learned from the Irish Independent that 100,000 of those migrants are from Ukraine, which shouldn't be surprising. Millions of Ukrainians have been displaced because of the war. But think about it, Ireland barely has 5 million people. It's smaller in population than the greater Toronto area. And imagine taking 100,000 migrants, many of whom don't speak the language, and plunking them down here. In Canadian terms, Canada's 8 times larger. That would be like nearly 1 million Ukrainians. There's simply not enough space for them, not in big cities like Dublin, and certainly not in smaller towns. A few weeks ago, one such town called Newtown Mount Kennedy, was told that this town of 2,800 people was going to be given a gift of hundreds of migrants. No one was asked, they were just told. Locals were shocked by the idea, and they rioted. There was even arson. There have been cases of buildings that are scheduled to take migrants being torched by the locals to try and stop it. Obviously, we don't support violence, but the fact that people are driven to such ends suggests to me that the political system is not listening. I should tell you that just a month ago, the globalist Prime Minister of Ireland at the time, Leo Varadkar, he has since resigned, put forward 2 referendums that were so shockingly out of touch with the Irish people. I'll give you the example. One of them was to take the concept of motherhood out of the Irish Constitution. Don't know if you know, but Ireland has a beautiful constitution that specifically talks about women and protecting women and their role as mothers. It's actually incredible and very beautiful. I've never seen a constitution like it. Leo Varadkar and the entire establishment voted to remove that, while the people had other things in mind. 3/4 of Irishmen voted against that. I tell you that because although it sounds unrelated to the migrant crisis, it's actually not. It's the difference between a globalist elite that likes to hang out at the Davos World Economic Forum meetings and swan around with the likes of Justin Trudeau, an out-of-touch elite versus ordinary Irish people who were never asked. I'm going to see if any of the people in this tent city want to talk. Doesn't look like many of them are up, but I'm curious. Where did they come from? How did they wind up here? What do they do for basic services? Where do they wash? Where do they go to the bathroom? How do they eat? What are their prospects? I suppose it's better to be here sitting in a tent next to a canal than being back in Ukraine on the front lines. I don't doubt that. But what is their future here in Ireland? And will Ireland continue to be the drop zone for the globalist immigration schemes? It's one of the things we'll ask and try and find out in our whistle-stop tour of Ireland. You know, it's still early in the morning. We got here on the overnight flight from Canada. We just threw our stuff down at the hotel, and then we came straight here. It was sort of interesting that this was on the front page of the Irish Independent. I just bumped into a cameraman from the state broadcaster here called RTE. As you can imagine, being the state broadcaster in a left-wing government, they are like Canada's CBC, but they know this is a news story. It's still early, and everyone here seems to be sleeping in, but I see someone, looks like he's just getting up now. I don't want to interrupt people. I don't want to wake people up, but if people are up and at 'em and getting started with their day and want to talk to us, I'm happy to talk to them. Would you like to talk on camera? Or you don't speak English? Where are you from?
Palestine.
You're from Palestine? When did you get here? You don't speak English. He says he's from Palestine or Palestine, and he says he doesn't speak English. Let's continue walking. By the way, I should say, I don't think there's any direct flights from the West Bank or Gaza to Ireland. So obviously the folks here came through a second country. And one of the rules about refugee status that the United Nations has resolved is that if you're a refugee, you have to present in the first safe country you arrive at. You can't sort of go shopping around and island hopping, so to speak. So that's a curious thing. I wonder if these folks were invited here. For example, back in Canada, Justin Trudeau has granted visas to over 7,000 people from Gaza. A deliberate decision. I wonder how these folks made their way here. Let's keep going. I saw a fellow get out of his tent earlier. Maybe we can talk to someone. As I pass some of the tents, I can hear them talking either to someone else in the tent or they're on the phone. So they are stirring. I got to say, it's got to be uncomfortable. It's springtime, so it's not very cold. It is a little bit rainy. It would not be pleasant staying in these tents here. I hope I can talk to someone and ask them, how long are they going to be here? Who sent them here? What are their prospects? If you're from Ukraine, as some of these people I suspect are, or if you're from Palestine, as that one guy said he was, you would probably prefer to be here than back in your home country. What do the Irish have to say? I don't know if they'll speak candidly around here, but I suspect that the people at the anti-immigration march will have plenty to say. That's why they're marching. One more thought that comes to mind is we've only seen two people so far, and obviously they were both young military-aged men. I don't know if there are women in these tents as well, and that would be something that's on my mind just from a safety point of view. I don't want to peek into the tents against people here. This is their home. I don't want to peer inside. Perhaps they're in a state of undress, or they just don't want to talk to someone. So I'll wait for people to come out themselves. But I wonder if there's just men here, if there are women too. Can I talk to you on camera? Can I talk to you for a minute? Where are you from? He's shy, fair enough. It looks like he is going into one of the tents. I don't know where he's from. I have sympathy for the people in these tents, obviously. I would not want to be in one of these tents. One of the things I would ask them, if I encounter someone who's willing to talk and able to speak English, is, what were you promised? And how do you feel with your current situation? And how do you feel about hundreds of thousands more migrants being brought in? Hi, how are you guys? Do you guys live around here, or are you in these tents?
Can I ask you, please, don't film me, please. Yeah,
Okay.
possible, yeah? Don't film me.
Okay.
Excuse me, please. Are you gonna help these guys or no?
Well, I want
What's
to.
the point of filming them, please?
I want to know who they are
Let's
Yep.
go.
and what they're doing.
Come on,
Yeah,
come on.
it's not your business, bro.
Come on,
If
come
you're
on.
gonna
Hey,
give them some help,
love,
give them
let's
some
go,
help.
let's
Don't
go.
film me, man. I already told you that, yeah? Don't film me, bro. Don't film me, yeah? Public place, but don't film me, man. I'm telling you, yeah? I'm telling you, yeah? I'm telling you, yeah? Don't fucking film me, yeah?
Come on, love, let's go.
Fucking cunt.
What's your name?
I'm talking to this guy, yeah?
What's your name? Where are you from?
It's not your fucking business, man.
Well, why did you come up and talk to
So
us?
why are you filming people? Are you gonna give him help? Are you gonna help them, yeah?
Maybe.
Not maybe, yeah, not maybe. You just making like, what is it? You just wanna get your wages, man, you know? And you filming, yeah?
We want to know what's going on.
Well, go get a burger, yeah?
Well, there's a fellow who wasn't happy with us here. I don't think I'm in a position to help these folks, and I don't think that's my job. I think that's more the job of the Irish government. There's an angry fellow who, I don't know why he reacted that way. Perhaps he doesn't want attention being put on these people, but surely he can't think that this is good. In fact, I know he doesn't. He said, are we going to help them? I don't think that's for me to do. I think that's for the Irish government to do, the Irish people to do. Perhaps he thinks that we're going to be biased in some way. I don't feel like I have a bias other than, I suppose my instincts are, there's only so much absorption that a country can have. Ireland is obviously being taxed, and I think Canada is too. Canadian immigration numbers used to be 250,000 people per year. Then Trudeau raised it to 1/3 per year, and everyone thought that was shocking. But we now know that in the last couple of years, it's actually hit more than 2 million, 900,000 of whom are students. Now, there's not room for 900,000 college university students in Canada. It's a sham. It's an immigration sham that these diploma mills sell. 600,000 temporary foreign workers. So there's actually 2.2 million people who have been brought to Canada in a single year. We're having enormous absorption problems in Canada, and indeed we are starting to see tent cities like that in our country too. We were just walking down here, and a fellow was walking his dog, and he said, "Hey, Rebel News." He said he didn't want to appear on camera, so we turned it off, but it was interesting to chat with him. First of all, it's exciting to be recognized in a faraway place like Dublin. Second of all, I mean, he says something that I think I feel too, which is you can't really blame the people who are here if they were invited here, especially if they were made promises here, and then the government didn't have a place to put them. I don't know how easy it is to get to Ireland without the government's permission. What I mean by that is it's an island far away from the Middle East, far away from Ukraine, far away from Gaza, if that fellow was telling the truth earlier. So if you are here on this canal, which he says it's a beautiful canal, which it certainly is, but he says he's reluctant to walk on it because the garbage and sometimes even human excrement, he says. And I don't know, he says that it's the government's fault as much as anyone on the street, and I think he's right. We're going to head back this way now, and I see a few more people are up. I want to be careful that I don't get into any fisticuffs. I'm not here to argue or quarrel. I'm not here to lecture or condemn. Sort of the opposite. I'm here to ask questions. Who are you? Why are you here? What's next for you? What do you think of the situation? It was sort of interesting to be accosted a few minutes ago by that one fellow with the scar on his face, and he's obviously angry about something, but I don't think I gave him any cause to be. Let's see if there's anyone else here who's more chatty and less angry. Hi there. Can we talk to you a little bit about what's going on around here?
Sorry.
No? Where are you from?
Please turn off the camera.
Well, where are you from?
It's not your fucking business.
Why is it not my business?
I'm from Dublin.
You're from Dublin?
Yeah. All right. Is that good for you?
Sure.
Okay. Fuck off, man. Hey, bro. Instead of filming people, go to gym, man. You know, you filming people, go to gym. Fuck off, yeah? Fuck off, you motherfucker, yeah?
We finished the circuit, and the guy we saw before with the scar on his face was not happy to see us. Lots of swears, no real physical threats, but I think he was trying to be intimidating. I didn't want to get into a fight. That's not my job, that's not my purpose, and I don't really believe in violence. I talked to another fella who was happy to talk with us a little bit as long as the camera wasn't on. He said he was from Pakistan. He said he arrived only in the last couple of weeks and that he's claiming asylum. I asked him on what basis he's fleeing Pakistan, and he said he wouldn't tell me. I asked him what his prospects were, what he thought would happen. He said that he imagined he would stay in a tent situation or something like that for 4 or 5 months before being given free housing. I'm not sure who the fellow was who was swearing at us, but it appears to me that everyone in this encampment is from Pakistan or another Muslim country. I didn't see any Ukrainians, even though according to the newspaper there's been 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. This appears to be an ethnically homogenous group of Muslims, and some of them were shy, some of them were, just annoyed by us, and we didn't pester them. But that one guy was very hostile, and I gotta say, if that's the face of immigration, of asylum seekers, it's easy to understand why Irish people get their dander up. I don't think I was provoking anything sort of the opposite. I think I was just asking questions. What's your name? Where are you from? I didn't go much further with him, but sort of the angry, the rage, and I'll say this. Every single person in a tent that we saw, and we didn't see everybody, obviously, a lot of the tents were closed, they were all single, military-aged men. That's just a fact. So when you see some of the anti-immigration protesters say, this isn't immigration, this is an invasion, you can understand why. There have been refugees throughout the course of time. Refugees, in my mind, the mental image I have of a refugee is a woman or a child, not particularly a military-aged man. A refugee, in my mind, is someone who is desperate and absolutely grateful for the hospitality they receive, not someone who's making threats and swearing and being insulting to the local population. I don't know if you saw it, but as we were walking around, there were a lot of young Irish people out jogging, including a lot of young women. The canal, which is basically a system of locks, it's beautiful. It's peaceful here. I see a bunch of people going by on bicycles even right now. And that's based on a high trust society. That's based on safety and feeling confident that you're not going to be attacked. I felt a little bit unsafe there, to be honest, and I'm a guy with our cameraman who's also a guy. If I was one of the young women who I've seen jogging or biking along here, I would certainly be careful, and I certainly hope nothing happens to them. However, we do know in recent months there have been cases of violence by migrants, and it's one of the reasons why the anti-immigration mood is rising in this country. I think we've seen everything there is to see here. I don't particularly want to get into the tents and annoy anybody. Again, that wasn't my purpose. I think that one guy was furious for his own reasons. But I think what we can safely say about this encampment here is it wasn't Ukrainians, it wasn't women and children, it was military-aged men from Pakistan or other Muslim countries who, if they talked to us, were curt at best and threatening at worst. To see all our reports from our whistle-stop tour to Ireland on this day of the giant anti-immigration march, go to migrantreports.com.